the Berkeley Power Worm. We're going to talk about where to use this and how to use this. You ready to run and gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. The Berkeley Power Worm. Man, this is a great worm. You can throw it in open water, weed lines. Some people consider this a ribbon tail. I don't myself personally. But the power worm to me personally is a brush pile worm. If you've got wood cover around boat docks, any kind of deep cover, shallow cover, I just like using that kind of worm. This tail is thick and puts off a lot of vibration, and it also falls slower. Ribbon tail worms tend to fall fast, and they're easier to fish through grass. This to me is easier to fish through brush, or I think it's more effective through brush. Ribbon tails are better through grass because it falls faster and it gets down through the grass as you're fishing it. This does a better job in brush because it does fall slower. The size hook I use a 1/0 owner wide gap straight shank. That's what I use on these worms. It's a short worm. It's a short hook. It's got a wide bite to it, and only covers about that much of the worm. So that much of it is still hanging off back here. I've said this before, I like a short hook. Okay? I don't like a long hook for a worm. They said to use 3 and 4/0 hooks on these things. They're nuts. Now, blue fleck is one of my all-time favorite colors. But here lately, blue fleck has been stiff, and you have to boil them. I did a video on how to boil a power worm. My favorite color of all time is still the electric grape, or electric blue, however you want to call it. Just a dark purple with a blue flake. And for some reason, this one is soft. I haven't boiled this. This is soft, just the way it is. Casting rigs, you can throw on a spinning rod if you want to, but to me, this is a cover worm. And if you have scattered trees or you have scattered cover before you hit your next brush pile, this is a good worm to swim through that. But once you get to that brush pile, that really comes into play. And I mentioned this before. Anytime you go to rig this worm, rig it tail up. You got your hook down here, rig it tail up, because what's going to happen as you fish this through brush piles, that hook acts as a keel. It keeps the worm straight. If you have this thing sticking its tail up, look at that. It goes right over my finger and it bounces right over. That's what tail up does. If I simply turn this worm upside down and I start going over my finger, it wraps. Look at that. See how it does that? So I don't like that. I like the tail up because it will minimize a twist in your line. It almost won't twist your line because of that. But just keep the hook at the bottom, tail rigged up, and fish this thing around brush piles. That's my biggest success with this worm is brush. Any kind of wood type cover. I've caught, I would say 90% of my bass off this worm in wood cover, just because it's just got that big tail on it. Kind of reminds me of the old gator tails, or you might remember here recently there's the Zoom G tail, which was their gator tail version, or the old man 6-inch gator tail that they used to make. That to me is the answer to it, because this tail is, material wise, is thick and it puts off a lot of vibration. I really like using that in brush. But that's all I have for the power worm. Again, like I said, it's a 1/0 hook I use. It's the exact same size hook I use in the Twister Phenom, and I fish this in brush. Shallow or deep, doesn't matter to me. That's just a great worm, and that grape color to me is just an all-around awesome color. But that's me. You have your own colors, and by all means use them. So until next time, remember, new techniques are trendy, but bass never change. May the Father bless you and keep in Yeshua's name, and as always, fish on.